Greetings, I'm Solidus-Skully, and welcome back to the Devil May Cry commentary, where now we go on to acquire not only new strength, but also new areas as we venture, well, beyond the castle of Malay Island and head onwards towards the Colosseum in Rome. Well, not in Rome, since Malay Island isn't in Rome. So, we roam away from the castle. I don't know how to speak Italian. Okay, I'm gonna stop that now, but, yeah. A lot of these quotes aren't just for show. The Wheel of Destiny shall guide you to the land of the beginning. Yeah, basically meaning that the bridge raises, we can't go back until we acquire the Wheel of Destiny. And where is the Wheel of Destiny? Well, guess we're just gonna have to press onwards to the Colosseum in Rome. And, yeah, this whole thing right here with the whole, there are secret dimensions where redstones hide. That's basically telling you that, jump around in certain places and then you can find red ores which will appear and, give you a little bit of extra cash bonus. So yeah, like, again, a lot of these hints aren't just for show. They are there to genuinely hint towards either where you need to go or, just a cute little bonus of what you can do. I mean, some of that is just sort of there for flavor text and, mythologizing, so to speak, because, yeah, what I was saying before, Wheel of Destiny will lead you to the land of the beginning. Well, just remember back to the castle library where it mentioned beforehand about how the castle was being modified and how during the nighttime strange sights in the castle is known to change. Very interesting. But anyway, apart from just sort of beating around the bush and jumping up to get some tasty red orbs, there is a bit of a reason as to why you want to go for these little secret dimensions where redstones hide. The first of which being our new strength. Let's just say it's going to be requiring some red orbs and another similar case to our very first mission actually, cache gates, by which I mean the red vortexes of death. Yeah, compared to the grey ones which basically require you to kill X amount of enemies before you fulfill the mission objective. Yeah, cache gates, basically being the red mists, well, they pretty much mean that you gotta pay a lot of red orbs, and those are orbs that you sorely need in order to, pay for upgrades for your weapon, so, yeah, all that grinding I was doing before to get, runes, some items to help you along the way and all that kind of stuff, that was primarily my way of just sort of expediting the process and allowing you to see at least a majority of the upgrades that you could potentially get, on a first run-through that you otherwise wouldn't be getting until a second playthrough if you were just playing the game normally. Anyway, one thing I forgot to show off compared to anything else, first of all, showing off the grenade launcher that we got, in epic, pre-rendered Blastimotron. Boom. But yeah, if you hold the fire button when you're charging your weapons, depending on what weapon you do have, yeah, you get a little lightning power-up for your, gun. And that can also be utilized for multiple shots with ebony and ivory, so you can, get a bit of star ranking. The Hunters with the serial label filed off. Yeah, technically these creatures are called blades, but again, if you know your Resident Evil creatures, your Monsterpedia for Resident Evil, yeah, it's basically just the fucking Hunters. Oh yeah, nice and stylish, baby. But yeah, the blades, they basically do function very similarly to Hunters. I mean, they do have, armor and shielding, but, that's nothing compared to the power of the Dante, so... Yeah, just, I mean, just basically sort of treat them like you would any other enemy. The only real thing they have to their name is that they can dive underground and sort of, skirt around and dig deep to try and, jump up and take a swipe at you. But they also do have another ability in that they can shoot their fingernails at you, so... Yeah, that's one particular upgrade in the Hunter, but that's really all they have. I can't remember if they have, like, any unique death animations akin to, the shadows or what the, the B.O.Ws have where they snap Dante's back, or even the puppets, actually, where if you let the Bloody Marys, get Dante in the red health, they pretty much jump on top of him and, well, stab him to death with their little, scythes, so, yeah. Even your basic bitch enemies can be dangerous. Delicious red orb. Oh, red orb? No, that was a yellow orb. I don't know why I said red orb. I was thinking of the golden orb that would eventually come with, I think it was Devil May Cry 2, and then Devil May Cry 3 would have, like, two completely different distinctions for yellow and gold orb, which... whatever. Gold ores basically let you start from literally right where you left off. Yellow ores basically made you start with the previous screen. Why Devil May Cry 3 included that at all, I have no idea. Anyway, on to more relevant topics. The Colosseum. She is blocking us. So in essence, we pretty much need to, we need to go off and find some shields, so that we can prove our mettle and head into the Colosseum, or more importantly, open the way down beneath there, and in turn, well, gain some new powers of our own, because not only is there something plot essential down there, but there is also, well, another gun for the Dante. Yes, we're already pretty stacked up with our shotgun, grenade launcher, and ebony and ivory, but we could have more. Perhaps something more, well, something that's like both partially sci-fi, but also kind of demonic influenced. It's weird. We'll get to what we're talking about a little bit later, but in the meantime, though, well, our path lies elsewhere. So in the meantime, let's follow these fucking biplane landing lights leading us to our next destination and explore around a little bit more. It's sealed shut. It's locked. But if you're curious enough to explore around a little bit more, what do we have here? Holy water. Holy ghost. Who is the one who will tell you the most? Someone steady, he's got time to commit another TV crime. By the way, it's worth noting that if you purchase holy water from, the Statue of Time, you will end up getting only 5 to your person, but you can actually collect more if you know where the holy waters are located around the level. So, the shop will only let you buy 5, but you can increase your number from, 6, 7 to 8, to how many holy waters you need to have on your person by the time you finish collecting them. And what else do we get? A Devil Star. That replenishes Devil Trigger if you have to know what that does, but again, as I mentioned beforehand, using items, the game will penalize you for it and give you a lower ranking, so, I don't know, unless you want to get bitch-fitted by other Devil May Cry fans or by the ranking system, well, feel free to use items at your leisure. Or otherwise, don't really give a fuck. That's also a perfectly viable option too. Well, I suppose if you're hurting for orbs, but, even in that case, though, if you don't give a shit about rankings, you might as well just grind a little bit for them, or just get all your abilities in a second playthrough. And now we have tertiary platforming on these floating cinnamon buns. And it gets to one of the more awkward aspects that it wouldn't take until, embarrassingly enough, it wouldn't take until the fucking Devil May Cry reboot before the series would ever learn how to fucking platform. And I'm only really just counting Devil May Cry 5 from that because it doesn't even have any mandatory platforming sections at all. But yeah, it's very stiff controls. It's kind of like a weird mishmash between something like Ocarina of Time or Majora's Mask mixed with, actual jump controls. Basically, you need to be careful the way in which you maneuver Dante, otherwise you're falling right down. You can't maneuver your jump, so it kind of works on Simon Belmont physics, and yeah, let's just say air height can save you in a bit of a pinch, unless your jump is inaccurate, in which case you're going all the way down. Oh yes, now we have our fisty gauntlets of the now. I was about to call it Iblis, no, Ifrit. Basically click both analog sticks if you want to change back between Alastor and then Ifrit. A bit of interesting history with Ifrit that I actually might have to say for a little bit later, but yeah, we'll just talk about what this weapon is now. Basically, it's your tertiary gauntlet weapon that, well, would sadly be ripped off by fucking Beowulf and Devil May Cry 3's poorer effect. But yeah, basically it's Dante's little fist weapon, flame-oriented, obviously, will have certain advantages towards enemies that we'll be encountering much later. And in the meantime though, yeah, it's a bit sluggish, but it does hit hard, so there are certain advantages towards using Ifrit, especially once you power it up, give it a few more moves, and yeah, some very tasty treats to play with. But in the meantime, it's really just sort of an alternate means of, well, using your fists. If you do use Round Trip with Alastor, you can technically punch with Dante's regular fists, so, you do technically get to practice with it a little bit beforehand, but anyway, cutscene go now.
son of Sparta who challenges the darkness, Mundus.
Block off, Featherface, or you can stick around and find out the hard way.
Okay, so, actually one of the more entertaining boss fights in the game, Griffin. Boss fight that was, actually, if you remember this, one of the demos of Devil May Cry was actually intended for the the cathedral, actually. But anyway, to talk about Griffin, as we get some instant stylish ranking thanks to our, Devil Trigger pistols. Yeah, does Griffin have a comparison in the Divine Comedy? Believe it or not, actually yes. And yeah, he was actually a character Griffalino. He was basically, well, a fraudulent little businessman who was practicing phony alchemy and sent to hell by ripping people off. And ostensibly he was tricking people into giving him a large sum of money by claiming that he could teach them how to fly. Now tell me, who does this remind you of right here? And, of course, this is obviously based on a cut Resident Evil enemy, which, was obviously meant to be this, this giant bird decaying and running away that, initially would have also had, like, well, kind of similar to the Phantom Babies, they would have had, like, a little Griffin spawn in and of itself. But yeah, that never manifested in Devil May Cry or the final Resident Evil game whatsoever, and, yeah. Anyway, also in the Divine Comedy is the fact that, Griffalino was also marred with leprosy and, peeling scabs. Well, now, what exactly does Griffin have here? Decaying flesh and a lot of scabs on his person. How curious. Yeah, I will talk about the Griffin boss fight a little bit later, since this is, in a similar case with Phantom and her boss battles, yeah, Griffin is pretty much a multiple encounter kind of deal, so, yeah, we'll talk about that a little bit later, but, yeah, let's just say ranged attacks are the way to go, and, the quickest path to getting up your stylish ranking. Contrary to popular belief, using a last door doesn't have any negative effects towards, Griffin, so if you feel so inclined, you can actually use Air Raid to, sort of, level the playing field, so to speak, so, yeah, don't feel afraid to use a last door against, Griffin to at least, varietize your combat here. It's just that, utilizing ranged weapons is really the way to go. I'd primarily recommend Ebony and Ivory if you want to build up your style ranking, because, the shotgun and, grenade launcher, obviously, they pack in power, but they're not going to build up your stylish ranking quick enough, given the fact that we don't have a cooldown bar, so... yeah, we can't exactly go to cooldown mode, mon. Which is why we need to pick up the holy water, mon. Delicious. 7 holy waters, and, that's pretty much all she wrote. In the meantime, however, we have yet another enemy introduction cutscene as we collect more stuff. Delicious. The fetishes. And I believe there was actually a different term for the term fetish, but rather than what we know now as a very sexual thing, but yeah, anyway. To talk about it, it's basically the ultimate variation of puppets. Again, it's got flame chakrams, it's a lot more block-happy than the Bloody Marys, so, the red puppets, just to kind of give them their proper name. Well, the other version was their proper name. Basically, these are, well, Axel in Devil May Cry form. Again, they have flame breath, and when they do block you, they will immediately start going for the, little fire breath technique, so, yeah, I mean, unless, of course, you want to keep your distance, honestly, all I'd really recommend is just sort of, getting up in their grill. When they block, immediately jump out of the way, switch back to your guns, and, if you've got some Devil Trigger on you, make sure that you can take them down. And, this is also me showing off Round Trip, just so I can, show off the fact that even without, Ifrit, Dante can still punch and kick with the best of them. Although it is very basic punches and kicks, you can't do a lot of like the jump attack sort of things or any of the other special abilities that you will eventually get with, Ifrit, so it's a bit of a moot point really. But yeah, it also has that little twirly-whirly attack, so do be on your guard. The fetishes, I mean again, they can be quite easy if you know what you're doing, but other times they can also catch you off guard, so keep it sleazy, stay freaky, and make sure that you don't, well, end up as a fetish sandwich. Like fetish cheese. And yeah, see, that was Ebony and Ivory. Charge up the guns with Devil Trigger or Last Door power, and bada bing, even without switching to your Devil Trigger form, you can still build up your star ranking at least a little bit, so... yeah. There are ways of going about it, but again, the biggest problem, and I guess this is really more to do with later games, is that because there's no cooldown feature or there's no trickster movesets that you can utilize to sort of build up your style ranking, or at least prolong it for long enough for you to get to the next enemy, yeah, you're gonna find yourself having a lot of trouble unless you really master the game's techniques to sort of build up that star ranking and, you know, gradually achieve the S ranks that the game wants you to, you know, gather. But anyway, speaking of purchasing new moves, let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Did I say the lobby? I meant the Watcher of Time. Dun dun. So yeah, this is a taste of some of what you can get. You can basically get Kick level 13, which is pretty much just, you know, continue punch, punch, punch. Rolling Blaze, which is pretty much a basic jump attack. Inferno, that we just got there, pretty much being like a jump down, fuck you, burst attack. Meteor is actually one of my favorite abilities. It actually does something very similar to what the Nilo Angelo had, where, you know, hold back the analog stick, you know, Dante charges up a fireball and then throws it towards the enemy. Quite fun, does leave you a little bit prone, but it is, you know, quite powerful and very fun to pull off. And, yeah, to talk about the control scheme for a second, a very similar moveset that you use for Elastor, but I mean, again, it's all depending on the way in which you maneuver the analog stick, press the triangle button, and the frequency of your button presses. So, I mean, props to Devil May Cry 1, it might be a very early adopter of what action games will be doing circa the 2000s, but I don't know, man, like, this game really did know what it was doing right from the ground up, how to make its controls fairly accessible, and also fairly fluid for the era, because, I mean, and this might date the video considerably, depending on who you are, but yeah, I've basically been playing and recording a lot of Primal recently, and yeah, let's just say not all action games are created equally. That isn't to shit on Primal, mind you, because I do actually quite enjoy that game and its combat system, but yeah, when you get to something like this, it is noticeable in terms of what the difference maker is, and oh my god, so many fetishes. Better make a joke. Insert website or YouTube people you don't like here. Oh, yes, I went there. I'm doing the meme thing. You can't stop me. But anyway, to get off to less, you know, shit-tastic topics, yeah, similar to Elastor, you can't access a lot of the special abilities that you do have with it, unless, of course, you're in double trigger mode, so, yeah, otherwise you're pretty much just either stuck with some of the basic things the mode gives you. In this case, it'll be Rolling Blaze, which is pretty much just a passive ability given with your jump coated in flame that you can use to damage enemies, or just, well, you know, Kick level 13. But anyway, I will say this much. Okay, I mean, apart from, you know, being careful, is that, yeah, Inferno can be really useful in a pinch. Although it is blatantly disguised as, well, a certain attack that another enemy has, so, yeah, it's tut-tut. But anyway, that was, a Fireball. Not quite as powerful as, Fireball level 2, but, you know, we gotta train up for that shit. Oh. Damn me, I'm trying to use swords. Could have gotten a stylish ranking if I just juggled the enemies, like, as was the very glitch that inspired this game to begin with, but alas, I lack the access. Bravo, Dante! Bravo! Now, pay us like 200 red orbs to get through this thing, and oh god, my money, my money! Even though we have enough red orbs to get through, my money! That could be used for upgrades to Ifrit that people will never see. Well, I mean, I'm pretty sure I do get most of them, hence the reason why I grinded, but that's neither here nor there in this case as we enter the Dark Woods, so yeah, that's pretty much all she wrote. Done! Oh, I really should have shut off the Ifrit screen. Aqueist. I probably just sort of forgot because I was happy to end the level and save the game, so on that note, I am Solidus-Skully, keep it new metal, and I'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.
Let's rock, baby.